His stats, David.
4 tries to 5, 2 out of 4 conversions for the Tigers, 4 out of 5 for Parramatta. 87% completion for the Tigers and 75 for Parramatta. 36 out of 41 sets played, 31 out of 41. 4 line breaks to 5, 37 tackle busts for the Tigers, 40 for Parramatta. 5 offloads to 7, 2 forced dropouts for both sides. 0 40-20s, 314 tackles played, 337. 1 ruck infringement against the Tigers, 3 against Parramatta. 8 penalties conceded to 9. 9 errors to 12. And a sin bin for the Tigers. Offa Ngawi with 38 tackles. Mahoney with 51. Pole with 167 running meters. And Papali'i with 154. Musgrove missed 5 tackles, made 18. Brooks missed 5 and made 24. Mahoney missed 8, but he did make 51, so that's a pass, I reckon. And Wonga Blake missed 5 tackles and made 10. Moses with 115 Supercoach points, Papali'i with 90, and Nofaluma with 81.
Am I supposed to talk now?
Ken?
Yeah.
I can keep talking if you want.
I wasn't going to talk about this game at all because I'm sick of the usual spiel about how Tigers tried hard and got a bit fucked during the game and got beat. But look, I do think Parra probably should have out to a 6 or 12 point lead to start the game. Of course they should have, but then I think Tigers had all the momentum through the middle stages, and that was on the back of the youngsters that haven't been in first grade all year. Zane Musgrove had his best game in first grade. Like, he was outstanding. Just on a side note, and jumping into like Scott too, looking at me on the screen there, but just on us, it's like a disassembled head over there. But it did amuse me the fact that every time RCG touched the ball, he got absolutely fucking belted in this game. He got whacked every time. For a bloke out the point. He kept playing. Did he play 80? He felt like he played 80.
He played most of them. I think he played about 65 minutes.
Played 56. He was out there a lot, but he got belted. But Musgrove had his best game. Young Pole was tremendous. He was absolutely brilliant. Outstanding. Yeah, he's someone, the spruik on the Tigers juniors, he was part of it. Matamua was good for the short time he had and what didn't have.
Well, every time one of the Parramatta forwards got levelled, Pole was standing there over the top of him. He was tremendous. Belting blokes in defence.
And they laid a platform where Tigers Stefano's best game
of the year as well.
So there's guys you go, all right, there it is. You can see the future under there. Joff has been fantastic all year. He really was good again. Yep. The issue was that, and I'll get to Parramatta, the issue was in this team was when Tigers had the momentum, a couple of things. One, the refereeing cruelled them with the sin bin, which you've touched on, Gump. But even after that, Luke Brooks kicked the ball away in the second. That was the end of the Tigers' momentum for a good 30 minutes
with a player in the bin as well.
With a player in the bin, and that was the game. It didn't sit me when we were in that fight to see Adam Dewey just as a soldier running his meters and not doing not touching the ball.
I think he was having a bit of a sulk, to be honest.
He was sulky. He didn't go looking, but he just did his job as a centre. Didn't offend anyone, but didn't do anything. So he got picked as a centre, and I assume that's what he went out to play. And you're right, it probably was sulking. It just did, the one kick he had was a good kick. And apart from that, it was business as usual. Jackson Hastings, we've talked a bit off air, touches the ball too much now, which is taking meters away from these forwards and also, taking some hit ups away from elsewhere because a lot of it's that one-off pass and it just takes the hit up away. There's good signs for next year, but and for Neil Brown, for Manu Brown was good. Yeah, off that, I would say, give him a crack, give him a full crack because Jacob Little off the bench.
You can't play him.
Won't be playing first grade. He's just not a first grade. He's terrible.
Well, Brown's, you can see he's physically fit enough to play 80 minutes. Yeah, and I see no reason why he can't.
So he's a great bench option if Gappy's there next year, but he could also play lock. There's good signs. For Parra, they were very much Parramatta. They were fine. Mitchell Moses got his bully on late in the game. I didn't think he was that great in the first half. I didn't like the fact he got to throw 4 or 5 coat hangers without even so much of the blink of any referee's eyes, but he was there. Sean Lane we said that edge would be where they'd target. They did. Poor old Gumpy, the story hasn't been told on air, but did have a $50 free bet at 20s on Lane first try scorer. And
it was a dead set try.
And that's why he hates the referees in the bunker.
So explains a lot.
It was dead set try, though.
Gutho played pretty well. Sivo's getting back into fitness. It's sort of like it's standard Parra.
I thought Sivo was pretty impressive, actually.
He beat a lot. He had a lot of. I'm just looking now. He's tackled by 7. Yeah, that sounds about right. He was pretty good. And yeah, like I said, Moses after the fact was quite good, but their Para, I think they missed Brian Madison, to be honest. This was Pappy's best game for a month or so. He's been pretty quiet, but tell me I'm wrong of any of that, Scott.
I think Nathan Brown shot himself in the foot. I think he's well and truly done now. He had another chance and he's gone.
Should have been binned, but anyway.
Yeah, but I think the Tigers just really need to make a choice on like Dewey, Brooks, Hastings. Like pick your halves and stick. Like while you're pussyfooting around like you are now, you just need to drop one. It's just going to be better for the future. But I do love that even the refs hate Luke Brooks. Like he got absolutely chopped by Moses. That was great to see.
Yeah.
And then I suppose the only other thing is if Noffa was in any other club, do you reckon he'd be like AJ or what?
Well, he almost is here in a worse team because I think he's going to be the first to 3 figures for the Tigers, and we've run 13th for the last 10 years. But I don't know if he's.
I think he would have got shuffled around a few clubs, to be honest, because his defense is deplorable.
Yeah, I was going to say he's not, but he's a finisher. He's finisher and he's strong. And when he's motivated, if you'd put him into a Penrith or Melbourne, he probably scores 35 tries a year, but he's not going to create that. And not necessarily to say AJ does either.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Gumpy.
They need to name a coach the Tigers.
Yeah, it's the first problem.
The first problem, because if Kamali's not going to be there, then someone's got to tell him to not pick Brooks. Because at the moment, they will lose Dewey if they continue to play Brooks.
Absolutely.
He's thrown a tanny already, Dewey.
He'll be gone by
in the centres.
He'll be gone by then.
And he'll be gone if they don't play him at 6.
And then you know what happened? They go, oh, fuck, we've got no halves and no re-sign him for 5
And I don't necessarily agree. I think you should play where the coach tells you not spit the dummy.
Mm-hmm.
But Brooks he's on the way out at the Tigers. It's that simple. I wouldn't pick Brooks or I wouldn't pick Little in my side. I thought the Tigers were the better team for the majority of the game. The sin bin, which was a non-event, the poor kid play on debut, and he's saying sorry to everybody. You shouldn't have to apologise, mate, because you didn't do anything wrong. Overly, it was a second late. It wasn't high. It wasn't like it was, it was just a penalty, a penalty at best in terms of that. And that just changed the momentum of the game. I thought the youngsters for the Tigers were really good. Your Poles and blokes like that. I think that Uda Ikamanu, as I said, was really, really good for the Tigers. And look, last year he was talked about as an Origin player and was actually named in a squad. So he's got some ability, and the Tigers signed him for a lot of money, having not played a game. So there's some hype around him as a front rower, and he's only young and he'll get better. Look, I think, and you don't want to go early crows on teams, but I think Appy makes a huge difference to them next year because the forwards will get hit-ups off the hooker, where they're not now.
Yeah.
Like they're getting, as you said, Hastings gets the ball and shifts it onto somebody else. Or if they're getting the ball from the dummy half, it's just a pass straight from the ground. So there's no deception. And
they run generally 2 meters out from the line.
Correct. and they're making a couple of meters and they know what's happening. So there's no engagement of defenders from their 9. And Appy makes a huge difference if these young blokes are as good as people think they are. Yeah. And you get them running off for 9 that's high quality. I know that's not easy to probably take as a Tigers fan, but I'm a Bulldogs fan, so it's not any better for me either. But I think that, you got Papali on an edge. And
if you do actually pull the trigger and actually back Dewey, it gives you a running 5'8" as well.
You make your decision around your halves.
Yeah.
And if Hastings is your man with Dewey, then you run with them. The fullback is a decent enough player. Dane Laurie's safe. He's got a little bit, so their spine looks a whole lot better and settled. But if Kamali's not going to be the coach and Tim Sheens has got the say he's got at the club, then Tim Sheens should really be saying, don't pick Brooks this week. Well, and in my opinion, if Tim Sheens is there on $1 million to fix the club, then fix it.
Here's the thing, because Dewey and Hastings is the only combination we haven't seen. We've seen everything else. And we're going to win the spoon. So why, at least put it in the window and go, okay, we've tried it for 2 weeks. Sorry, Adam, you're a fullback, or you're a fucking center or whatever you are. Give him a crack.
Yeah, absolutely.
very quickly, Ellie, because I know Barney's going to have plenty to say. Not very quickly. You can talk as long as you want.
Oh well, personally, I don't think I don't think Dewey and Hastings should be playing in the halves together at all. And personally, I want Luke Brooks to get an extension at the Tigers for a few more years. I want him to be the focal point of their attack and their defense. Give him the captaincy for the rest of the season.
Do you just hate me?
He just
No,
doesn't
he
want the
doesn't want him to
Tigers.
win
I
titles.
don't want it. Dead.
Well, in this game,
He wants some company on the roof.
you were talking about a certain player who will significantly improve the Tigers next year, and I think someone else who might is the player who I think overall was probably the best player on field for me in this game, Isaiah Papali'i. I think he had an absolutely tremendous performance. Definitely not going soft on his future team in this one. I think he was amazing for the Eels, and Reid as well in defence. But I do think overall, sort of the better efforts, I guess you could say, from individual players were coming from the Tigers, and I think that they were a bit unlucky, especially towards the end, to miss out. Moses had his period there towards the back end of the game, and apparently that warrants a $5 million extension or whatever, which the report to say. So good on Parramatta if they want to give him that. So
Para fans are the best though. 'Cause they hate him more than we do. Don't worry.
He was always going to get it.
Yeah.
So
Of course, have you seen the other? Like, you see
Well,
Milford. Like,
you've got- that's what I mean. They've got no choice.
Yeah.
Well, Nico Hines gone from fullback and is probably top 3 or 4 halves in the game. Like,
Correct. And the other one, Jerome Hughes, is not a legit halfback.
Munster went
either.
from fullback to halfback.
So
and again, that, as we were saying off air, that comes back to Craig Bellamy. But overall, I think probably you could even say the Tigers were the better side. I don't want to rub it in too much, but you know what? The individual efforts from Marnie and probably especially, I think they were absolutely amazing in this game. And I
Barney
think
was good, actually.
they've got they got the Eels home. I guess you could say, if not maybe a bit of lenient refereeing, if you will. But I thought Pole, was it his debut? Second game, but
last week.
Well, I mean, for someone who's sort of just getting their opportunity in this one, he made the most of it on both sides of the ball. I think as well was really good in defense, as we said, a couple of those big shots with him. But I think in attack as well, the meters he made and what he was able, the field position he was able to gain for the Tigers as well, I think was great.
like next year, and they'll have Papali'i on an edge and Sean Bloor if he stays fit. And Sean Bloor is an unbelievably good talented player, but haven't seen much of him through injury. But I think that they
know that. The club knows that. That's why they're trying to find this development. They know they've got, and like I said, they're now, I think we've spoken off air, but they're now signing these 16, 17-year-olds to 3-4 year deals because they know they've got talent. And it's starting to leak. Even Austin Diaz he's not been out of place. There's blokes that are okay. They're going to learn. They're going to make mistakes, but there's more to come. But yeah, sorry, I cut you off there.
Yeah, no, that was it.
Yeah, Sean Bloor's a good player.
Well, I guess you could even say on top of that, even when
they even talk. Sorry,
even when the those younger blokes coming through, even when they don't have the best game necessarily, they still usually look sort of, at least the effort, as you like to bring up, Gub, looks better than at least half the players in the rest of the side.
This is the thing, and they're finally doing it. They are doing it, and the right thing, but they're finally going, all right, Jimmy Roberts, you're playing Reggies, and they're cleaning it out. Stafford Teller actually, surprised that he is. Actually, he's been, for a bloke I had
he throws a shocker in every now and then,
but he'll drop one. He's a bit like the Sharks backs. He'll drop one here or there, but he's strong. He'll bust a tackle. He's fine. Anyway, talk about the other team that played.
I'm going to start with Tigers because for the first 25 minutes, they were the dominant team. They were well and truly in front in this game. And it was on they hung tough on their own goal line there because Parramatta had all the ball in that first, 5 to 10 minutes, and they were just pressuring the Tigers consistently time and time again, and they turned them away. One of them probably should have been given. Gumpy, don't.
No, it's okay. I'm over it.
Heel boy.
And the defense was fantastic. The sound that was coming through the TV with some of those hits with Offa and Gowie and Pole went really hitting RCG and Nathan Brown and a couple of the other blokes. They were getting smacked and put directly on their ass, and then they were just standing over the top of them. There was a lot of luck in that first try for Parramatta. Obviously, Tigers scored a couple early, and then the kick along the ground that come off feet and come off more feet, and then ended up with RCG diving on the ball.
Yeah.
And he was still lucky to get his hand there first. And then they just sort of took the initiative away from the Tigers. The Tigers kept fighting. I thought this was probably the Tigers' best performance of the year, to be honest, and they didn't get away with the win. But they definitely stuck in, and they did get the rough end of the stick. But what do? They were committed to the end. I thought Brooks was pretty good. There was 3 big moments in the game
They
which
moved
put a
him
big
wider,
black mark
which,
on his
suited. Yeah, sorry, keep going.
there was 3 big moments that put a big black mark on his name, which sort of, crueled it at the end of the game. Obviously, you already mentioned the kick on the second tackle, in defence with trying to kick the ball dead and missing it all together, and then Mahoney scores, and then when Moses scored his own the one-on-one try, you just basically
Terrible.
just pushed Brooks away and just fuck off, mate. I'm going to go and score you. And you take those 3 moments out of that game, and he probably comes away looking like one of the better players on the field.
But in terms of that, and I always look at it with him in your side. Are you in front or are you behind? Now the 3 incidents you just talked about cost them 18 points.
Absolutely, it did.
So he's
And they lost by 8.
He's negative 18.
Yeah.
Because what really, if he's had a try assist, will give him
2 of
6.
them, I think it was,
Right.
catch and pass.
So he's
Nova.
let's say he's minus 10.
Yeah.
They've lost by 8 points.
Yep.
If you want to put it in checks and
Yeah.
balances in terms of that, yeah, he
Absolutely.
does some good things, but so he should. But the bad things that he does, it just looks like he doesn't give a shit. That's the perception that he's not taking any ownership of the team. I know he's under pressure and he's a young bloke, and you got to look after him mentally and all those. I get all that kind of stuff, but this is a business,
and it's
become
very simple. I'm sure he's a lovely bloke. I'm sure if we had a beer with him, he'd be fucking
probably
champion.
top bloke.
But it's now 10 years. He hasn't done it. In what other walk of life can you not get your actual job or your one job in life done? And then they go, we'll give you another 5 years just in case. It's like, I think I heard it said the other day that perhaps they're scared he'll become a star if they let him go. And it's like, but like, good luck to him. I hope he goes to Melbourne and wins 6 comps, because I think both parties are better off.
Well, that's the thing. It's better
Yeah.
off for the tie.
So it's now
If he
time to back.
becomes a
It hasn't
star
worked.
at another
Yeah.
team. Well, so be
It's
it.
just, and they don't
but
want
it's
another
not
highlight reel of
helping-
Pappenhausen and Tedesco and former title. Like, who cares?
It's not
they
helping your
tried.
club at the
Yeah.
moment.
Whether that's a coach or personnel, whatever it is.
Yep.
If he goes under Bennett and Bennett turns him in Andrew Johns, well, cool. Hope he plays for New South Wales, like whatever. But it's not going to happen in this current setup.
The difference, I thought, was a couple of really strong individual performances from Parramatta across the field. Tigers were probably better, but there was a couple of really standout performances from Papali'i, Moses, Sivo. I thought was fantastic. Kai Rodwell looked pretty good off the bench in his 24 minutes that he was out there. But on the Tigers, I thought you've already mentioned everyone. That the only one that nobody mentioned, I thought, was Garner. I thought Garner was really good again. I know
Good for Penrith.
another one.
Be a star at Penrith.
Oh, how many tries are you going to score next year?
He'll be
He runs a hole.
He'll be a star.
But
Probably get picked for the Blues.
I had Papali'i as the man of the match. I had Moses with 2 with his late junk time stuff, and then I had Offan Gowie or Sivo for the 1 point.
Yeah, I can't argue it. I can't argue it. Honorary mention for Polo. Anything, Scotty?
No, nothing to add.